welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. When you're thinking about Pedro Siriaco, I mean, the only one that can compete is maybe Hannes Wagner's 1908 season. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Kern.
Like, if we just clip together every time we've talked about him on other people's profiles, we've done a Mickey Cochran episode.
I can't get past Rabbit Marinville. It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball really, truly, 100% accurately, kind of whenever. I'm your host, Chris Gianta. Over there to my actual left, in the Springfield College townhouse backyards, is Daniel Kern. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, we've done shows in many different locations before, on Zoom, in our studio, in our homes. This is probably my favorite scenery we've ever done a show. It's nice and peaceful out here. Very, very unfitting for how tonight was just watching that game, but you know, I feel like we needed a nice little relaxing spot to just give our thoughts, and this scenery here we got on video actually is kind of perfect.
Yeah, it's a good change of pace from the intensity of the game that just occurred. We told you we told the audience that we would be doing an Above Replacement Radio half episode talking about Giants-Dodgers, and here we are. I mean, where do we start here?
MV Belly.
Nico,
I mean, like, we'll just,
three-time guest on the program, Nico Fasella, is here.
I think we should just start by saying the Dodgers won.
Yes.
It was a great game, all things considered. Well, most things considered.
Yeah.
Like 99.9% of things considered. It was an amazing game, 2-1. Came down to the ninth inning. Like, at the end of the eighth, I legitimately had no idea who was going to win.
Yeah.
And that's the best kind of baseball. Like, you can, sometimes you can sense momentum. You can feel like things are going a certain team's way. That was not at all present before the ninth inning.
Yeah, exactly. That's a 100% accurate statement there, because it never felt like things were going the Giants or Dodgers' way, particularly outside of when Corey Seager drove in Betts, but then immediately responding was Darren Ruff with a home run.
Yeah.
A great Game 5, super intense. Just the intensity never stopped.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic.
Darren Ruff, by the way, hit an absolute bomb, 450 to dead center.
Yeah, you don't see that very often.
No. He was the sixth player in postseason history to hit a 450-plus foot home run to straightaway center. Or not straightaway, but just any point in center, whether it's left center, right center, dead center. I should say in the pitch tracking era.
Right.
Since 2008. It may have happened before then.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a pleasure to see. The biggest, one of the bigger subjects at hand in today's episode was the fact that Julio Urias was not starting Game 5. Yeah. It was Corey Knebel out of nowhere. I can't say it wouldn't have worked the other way around, but you can't say that it didn't work this time.
Yeah, no, it worked. I mean, Dave Roberts, I said earlier that, seemingly this can only go wrong for him personally, because he's culprit number one if the Dodgers lose, especially if the Giants score in early innings. And if they win, not a lot of people are probably going to look at it. Dave Roberts deserves an enormous amount of credit for what he did today.
Right. I would agree, because it worked 100%. Yeah,
that, and he put himself in the spotlight. Like, if Julio Urias gave up a first inning 2-run home run, the Dodgers lost 3-2. Like, nobody's really looking at Dave Roberts for that. He put himself in a position where he was first to blame if they lost. And I think when it got to the ninth inning, I'd say when it got to the fifth or sixth inning, it was kind of off him regardless, because Knebel and Gratterall both got through scoreless innings. Urias gave up 1 run in 4 innings, but Dave Roberts really put himself on the line tonight, and his guys did well.
Yeah, he was definitely up for scrutiny if it failed.
Yep.
Because like you said, the easy option would be to go with Urias starting. I mean, that was the initial announcement.
Nobody's going to question it. No one's going to blame him.
Exactly.
Because he does what is expected, even if it might not be right. And tonight it clearly wasn't right.
Right. I forget who pitched the 7th inning. I don't know.
It was Trinan.
It was That is true.
Yeah,
That's
Trinan.
correct.
It would Trinan, Janssen, Scherzer.
Right. Yeah, I forgot that he came in for a second. So yeah, I mean, great work. He utilized his bullpen like he thought he should have, and it worked exactly how it should for a game like that in a 2-1 ball game. You know, it wasn't like Game 2 where the Dodgers scored a ton of runs. So you're not going to have Arias for as long as you had him out there for Game 2. So it ended up working out. I mean, so what else is on our mind from what are some other takeaways from this series?
We never really got too far into the games beforehand. I feel like we
Right.
should just recap this entire series. And then
Logan Webb.
Logan Webb, yes. Oh my God. 7 innings pitched. I thought he was done after 6 because they had Rogers warming up. They brought him out for the 7th. One of my favorite things, so like, you know, I've been pretty outspoken about Logan Webb this year. He was obviously a finalist for the Daniel's Choice Award, which is just players that I hype up that do well. He was a How About That in like July or August, something like that. One of my favorite things about him is that like he can get into a 3-ball count and like I'm not even thinking walk.
Right.
And like I remember he had a 3-1 count to Chris Taylor, and I was like, well, I mean he's not walking him, and he ended up striking him out on that sinker that cut high and in.
Yep.
Which was just a ridiculous pitch. He was getting some pitching ninja action. He had one sinker that had 20 inches of horizontal movement. Yeah.
Horizontal movement.
Not vertical movement.
Yeah.
Horizontal movement, left to right.
Yeah, that's
like alien stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how hitters could hit that, but
Yeah.
I mean, if they were hitting it, it was about 6 feet. It was about 6 feet of projected distance.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah, there was so many. So I mean, Logan Webb, ground ball pitcher. I talked about his SIERA when I mentioned his How About That, and his ground ball rate leading the majors, having a negative career launch angle. That's one of my favorite archetypes of pitchers: Framber Valdez, Richard Blyer. But
Yeah.
I mean, Logan Webb, like he was serving up some 1-3 putouts for days.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of. I used to think fielding independent pitching meant like pitchers fielding. Yeah, he definitely, you know, a lot of 2017 Daniels idea of fielding independent pitching in there. But, you know, some actual FIP stuff, very good. No home runs allowed. 6 strikeouts in 7 innings, I believe. No walks, or maybe 1 walk.
1 walk today.
Yeah, still.
So 1 walk in 14 and 2/3 total innings in this postseason.
Yep.
He joins Whitey Ford as the only pitcher. I think this is a 5-filter stat, so excuse me for a second. But he will join Whitey Ford as one of only 2 pitchers to have multiple games, 2 pitchers 24 or younger to have multiple games with 7+ innings pitched, 6+ strikeouts, 1 or fewer walk, and 1 or fewer earned runs allowed. And Whitey Ford, Hall of Fame pitcher,
Postseason legend. Yeah.
has won a boatload of World Series. And and Ford probably pitched 3 games in that series as opposed to Logan Webb did it both times he was able to pitch. He was unbelievable, and that should not be forgotten even though the Giants lost. And they certainly have someone special for the next
They absolutely do.
5 years of control.
The Giants eulogy will be later on. We'll do a full or like a more extended thing. But I think if there is one thing that most national baseball fans can look at, I know this is kind of self-explanatory for Giants fans, but if you're a national baseball fan looking at the Giants, obviously a 107 win team just seems like a fluke. I think there's a lot of reason to believe that that's not the case here, because I mean you look at the amount of breakouts on the roster, whether it be guys like Brandon Crawford or Buster Posey or Evan Longoria who like reestablished themselves, or guys like Webb, like Lamont Wade Jr., Austin Slater, guys who picked up bigger roles this year. Like all of them broke out together. It wasn't just 1 or 2 guys who happened to carry the freight. It was a full team effort, and I mean they got something over there that is, you know, they found the fountain of youth over in San Francisco, and they just found the fountain of playing better baseball, regardless of what it might be, whether it's legal or not. They have something, and as you know, unless there's some sort of crackdown on whatever it may be, if it's actually something that's not allowed, it's going to continue to happen. So I think there's reason to believe the Giants will be back stronger than ever next year. Right,
That's true. Because I was someone who had the Giants in 4th place this year because I didn't think they could sustain like the around 500 record they had last year, and boy, was I ever so wrong. And I think with the Giants they've found some sort of like analytical hack that teams like the Dodgers and the Rays have been able to find, and the Giants are a team with the payroll. So I just know there were multiple like feature articles on their like analytics department and on their coaching staff.
Yeah.
Because it was like their coaching staff is mostly like people like under 40, which is pretty crazy.
Shout out Farhan one time.
Yeah, Farhan Zaidi, putting it together. When did he become GM again? Like
2018, 2019?
Makes sense.
Something like that. I remember I was in high school.
Yeah,
when they announced it, and I was like, wow, they took him from the Dodgers.
Yeah, it makes sense that after he came along, the rebuild seemed to not take as long as you may have thought it would have. Yeah, it's definitely worked out for the Giants, and I mean, literally just a couple bounces and they're playing for the National League Championship.
Yeah, I mean, a couple calls going different ways.
Yeah,
like one particular call. Do we want to get into that now?
I guess. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I've already
the
brought it
hottest
up.
topic of the night.
So the game ends. Max Scherzer comes into close. By the way, Cody Bellinger has the game-winning single in the ninth inning. Can you imagine being a team going down in the ninth inning and then hearing, "Here comes the closer, Max Scherzer"? Like that is a fate worse than death. I mean,
Yeah.
that is death itself.
Yeah.
But I mean, my God. But anyway, Max Scherzer comes in. He gets Brandon Crawford to line out to left field. He gets Chris Bryant to reach on an error, not his fault, and he strikes out Lamont Wade Jr. on a beautiful changeup on 2-2.
I had it wrong. I think it was a slider.
Still, it was off speed.
It started out of the zone, came back into the zone.
Yeah, I mean, that was a picture-perfect pitch on 2-2. And, it was a looking strikeout. It was a strike. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, there's no arguing that one.
It was in the zone.
And then Wilmer Flores comes up. And, Wilmer Flores, he's faced Max Scherzer a lot. He doesn't have a very good history against him. They were with the Mets and Nationals for a while. He was also hitting .091 in the playoffs. And he ends up getting rung up on a check swing that effectively ends the game. And, it's probably unlikely that he would have come through, but I mean, you can't end a season like that, man. Like, you can't make that call to end the season.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at the slow motion, it's very easy to identify that is the wrong call.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
It's tough. Like, this is the second year in a row that the Giants season ends on a controversial strike three, where I remember they played the Padres last year in Game 60, which seems so weird. But,
Game 60.
But I remember them and the Brewers, they had the same record. They were both 29-31, and the Brewers owned some kind of tiebreaker. I honestly have no idea I don't remember what. I think it was like maybe in division record or something. They never played each other. But either way, the Brewers held some sort of tiebreaker for the 8th seed. If the Giants needed to win and they were in, and they had the tying run or the go-ahead run on or whatever, and someone got rung up on like a strike three call that was just not a strike.
Yeah.
I'll look at it in more
I remember
detail,
it was like bases empty, 2 outs, 3-2 count, and it was 8 inches out of the zone maybe.
It was not a strike.
And it was like at the guy's shins.
That was not even debatable. Yeah, they lost 5-4 to the Padres that day. The last out was Austin Slater on a 2-2 pitch. That was, look at pitch 5 there. It was about maybe a couple inches low of the zone.
Yeah.
Wasn't a strike.
And it would have been a walk to put a runner on base, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would have set up. Who would that have set up?
And this one definitely.
It would have set up Mike Yastrzemski, who was an MVP candidate that year.
Yeah, and this one definitely prevented more. This one was more preventative, like the swing, because there was already a guy on base here.
Mm-hmm. It's the first base umpire's call. Normally, that's supposed to be a clearer call. I feel like then.
Yeah, well, that's the only reason they appeal it to the first base umpire, and just didn't get it right. I mean, to be fair, it was pretty close. I would say
it was
pretty close.
I don't know. He didn't go. I don't think there's any saying he went.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree he didn't go, but it wasn't.
I don't think
it wasn't a John Heyman check swing.
I don't know. Like, if we're talking season ender here in that game, like a game that had been so good up to that point, like unless it's just painstakingly obvious, you can't end a season on that call.
Right.
You can't.
Right. Exactly.
I feel like at that point, like, if you're going to make that call, like, it shouldn't even be worth appealing. Like, it should just be known.
Right.
Like, the home plate umpire should be calling it. Like, it's one of those check swings where, like, even the home plate umpire sees it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's harder to tell on the television, but I feel like if you're in person and you've been in the game for that long, it should be easier to identify. And yeah, that was one. I mean, I guess in that situation, it's definitely amplified when it's a worse call.
Yeah. It absolutely is, especially with the way the game had gone to that point.
Right.
Like, it was an amazing game. Outside of that, it was probably one of the best games of the season. Probably game of the postseason so far, you could argue, except for, like, maybe one of those Red Sox-Rays games.
Like in terms of all the high leverage situations, I feel like this one's over Game 4 of the ALDS, but maybe a little under Game 3 of the ALDS.
Yeah.
But all the other ones, I mean, I can't really think of anything.
It's two 109 win teams, regular and postseason cumulative. Like, they were evenly matched.
Exactly.
Like, there was no mismatch, between the teams in this series.
Right. And it was exemplified perfectly by a 2-1 ender on a controversial call.
Yeah, like, it came down to the very last quote-unquote strike.
Right, with Max Scherzer on the mound for the Dodgers. So yeah, and I think what also should be noted is, like, Giants, that obviously not frauds. It took maybe the most talented roster we've seen this century.
There's a very fair case. Like, this is a team that went out and got a 3-time Cy Young winner and a perennial MVP candidate at the trade deadline, and it took all that to beat them by 1 in a winner-take-all game at their place.
They already had former MVPs, like recent former MVPs on their roster. They had
the 2018 MVP, the 2019 MVP.
Yeah. Corey Seager to go along with that, who was NLCS and World Series MVP the year before, which is extremely hard to do. Someone who I picked is who I thought would be MVP in 2021. So yeah, like, the Giants faced the hardest possible task, and the team that faced them barely got by.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's hard not to feel bad for the Giants to have that season. It's so tough to have a 107-win season and your first draw in the playoffs is the 106-win Dodgers.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Like, normally the first round is supposed to be the easier opponent. It's you're the 1 seed. It's like, oh well, you got to win that.
Right.
And that just it never felt like the case.
Exactly. All right, so we've talked about Logan Webb, which is pretty much talking about Game 1.
Yeah.
Game 2, I feel like Game 3, we just got to talk about the wind for a second.
Yeah. The Dodgers had 8 batted balls with an expected batting average of at least 500. They went 2 for 8 on those hits.
It was tough.
Yeah,
it was a tough
they
day.
got absolutely X-fipped. The final out was a Gavin Lux flyout. He pointed his hand up as if he got it.
Yeah.
It had an 890 expected batting average. It was a barrel, and it died at the track. I don't want to use the wind as an excuse because, of course, we all remember the Giants were hitting in a dome that night where there was no wind, and they they were not in the same boat.
And Evan Longoria had the wind actually changed direction for him.
Yeah.
And it put it into the airplane jet.
The tectonic plates shifted
yes.
for Longoria's at bat to put the ball in the seats. That's probably not how it works, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yes, obviously the wind did give the Dodgers a couple tough breaks, but I don't want to use that as an excuse for that game, and I don't think it really matters at this point anyway. But
yes,
let's not act like that was such a big deal because.
Yeah. What were we saying after Game 7 of the 1925 World Series?
Yeah.
They're playing on the same field.
Exactly.
Yep. Anyway, going back to that. Anyway, yeah, Game 3 was pretty.
The Pittsburgh Pirates had a fraudulent win.
Yeah, I couldn't stand all the replies on Twitter just saying whatever, Mickey Mouse team, even though Mickey Mouse hadn't been introduced yet.
Yeah. Who's covering that game, by the way?
Peter Gammons.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peter Gammons. He was only 62 at the time.
Yeah. We love Peter Gammons, though.
Yeah,
except
cool.
for when he takes Larry Walker off his Hall of Fame ballot in the 10th year of eligibility when he only puts down 8 players.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Game 3 was pretty hilarious to watch. Just like it was like, oh, that's a bomb. Oh wait, that's shy of the warning track.
Yep, every single time.
But there were times where that happened for the Giants, like against them. It's interesting because the way the Dodgers won, did the Giants get run differentials here?
I think so. I think it was like +3 though. Like it really wasn't that serious because the Dodgers won 9-2
and 7-2.
Oh, so they 100% did. Yeah, they
16,
absolutely did.
So it was 16.
It was 4-0. It was 4-0,
so
1-0.
16-8, then 1-0, 16-9, and then
4-0, and then 1-0. So that's another 5.
No, okay. Let's go by game here. Okay. Live math on Above Replacement Radio. It's 1:08 a.m. So it's 4-0 Giants. Then it's 9-6 Dodgers. Then it's 9-7 Dodgers. Then 16-9 Dodgers, and then 18-10 Dodgers.
Okay, yeah, so they absolutely did get run differentials.
Yeah, they did.
Pythagorean.
So it would have been funny if the Giants won, for sure.
Mini 1960.
Yeah, a little bit for you. Would have been nice. A little best of 5 run differential there, but yeah, I guess it matches the theme of the season because the Dodgers had a better run differential, and it ended up with them getting more wins.
It did.
All right. Anything more? Do we?
I think we should just talk about the Dodgers now. Like we talked about it from the Giants' perspective. How about winner take all Cody Bellinger? 2018 NLCS Game 7. What does he do? He hits a 3-run home run.
Yeah.
He hits a solo home run that ties up the game at 1-1. They go on to win that game. NLCS Game 7, 2020. He hits the go-ahead home run against the Braves in, I believe, the 7th inning. They go on to win. Tonight, he comes up with runners on first and second with 1 out. Go-ahead run at second. 9th inning, Camilo Doval on the mound, who had just recorded a 6-out save. And he comes through with a base hit. And it ends up being the game-winning hit. That had to feel... we're going to talk a lot about Cody Bellinger this offseason and talk about what we expect out of him. And there's going to be a lot of conflicting, cases, but I feel like he kind of saved face for the entire season tonight.
Absolutely, yeah.
This is the type of hit that just cancels out an entire season where you had a 165 batting average.
Yeah, because ultimately it didn't end up really affecting the Dodgers outside of, I guess they could have had, if they won one more game because of Cody Bellinger, they'd have home field advantage in this series. But this definitely makes up for this. It does. It's something else for sure. That high leverage situation, he comes through with a nice hard hit line drive too.
Yeah, no, it was. That inning, it started with a Justin Turner hit by pitch, which it's the base. I know walks and hit by pitches are technically different, but they're basically the same thing. It's stuff like that kills you. And then it was a Gavin Lux ground ball through the hole between first and second, and then obviously Bellinger with the line drive in between the middle infielders that were shifted.
101 miles per hour, 9-degree launch angle, 700 expected batting average on that one. And yeah, really came through, for sure. Do we want to?
Dodgers. What else from the Dodgers can we talk about?
Dodgers bullpen really came through. Kenley Janssen has not been an issue at all.
No, he's been great.
Yes.
Last year we were talking about a role of reversal where it's someone else is going to be posing for the Dodgers. I remember in my preseason NL West article, I had to explain by the way, Kenley Janssen's still here.
Yep.
Let's not forget. I think a lot of people had a bad taste in their mouth from Game 4 of the World Series where he gave up the walk-off hit to Brett Phillips. There was the home run to Randy that he gave up in I think it was Game 1. He had himself a tough playoff run last year. He has been absolutely nails this year. The Dodgers bullpen as a whole has been nails this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
This postseason.
Yeah, Jansen had a perfect inning entering this game. He had another perfect inning here. So far in the playoffs this year, Kenley Janssen, 2 innings, 5 strikeouts, no base runners allowed.
They have so many guys where every time they come in, I'm just so sure it's going to be a shutdown inning. Like, it's Janssen, it's Blake Trinan. Like, it's even guys like Gratterall, who I know we kind of make fun of. Knebel tonight, he did give up a couple hard-hit balls, one of them being a deep fly ball out to Darren Ruff. But, he got the job done tonight. He saved Dave Roberts' face.
Yeah.
And, they are just so good. And obviously, Scherzer for the 9th is just not even fair. So I'm trying to wonder, who do the Dodgers go with in Game 1 of the NLCS now? Because they had, I don't know, like they had Buehler go in Game 4. He would be on, 3 days rest? Buehler in 3 days rest. Scherzer pitched today. Urias pitched today.
I feel like if Scherzer doesn't pitch, it's only because Dave Roberts didn't want him to pitch.
I would say Scherzer will be like, I'm available to go 7.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, what's always referenced when these relievers or these starters do relief appearances between their starts, people on the broadcast are always like, it's just going to be a bullpen for him.
Yep.
Maybe that's the case, and Scherzer gets, he had a
quick inning.
He had a relatively, it was between like 15 and 20 pitches. It's not crazy, not a crazy amount. So I don't see why.
He probably could go Game 1 on a day's rest.
Right. Bruce Gratterall, by the way, or actually that ERA is outdated now. He had a shutout inning, right? So
yeah. So
that is 3 times 9 divided by 13.3333. 203 career postseason ERA for Bruce Gratterall.
Yeah, that guy. What a weird sequence of events where he was a part of a 3-team trade that fell through, and the Dodgers were like, well, actually, we'll just take him.
Yeah, because I guess Jeter Downs was higher graded.
Yeah.
So the Red Sox.
Yeah. Don't look at his minor league stats this year.
Yeah, he had like a 590 something OPS.
Yeah, that was brutal.
I was kind of trying to hype up Jeter Downs because of how the trade went, but
I think the worst case, I'm thinking about potential World Series storylines, like Red Sox Dodgers. You have a rematch of 2018. You have Mookie Betts coming back. Astros Dodgers. I don't even need to say it.
Yeah.
Astros and Astros and Braves. There's probably not much there, but the one thing I will say is that you have Ron Washington and Dusty Baker, with one of them getting a ring. That's cool. And then the other one would be Astros Braves Red Sox. That's probably the worst of the 4.
What if I were to tell you
the Boston series?
Astros Braves, revenge of the 2005 NLDS. Chris Burke.
Brad Ausmus.
Wait, no.
And that was NLDS, by the way. Did you say that? Okay, you did.
Yeah, NLDS.
Yeah, Chris Burke, the 18th inning, the forgotten 18-inning postseason game that literally no one knows about. Red Sox, it'd be very funny if the Braves faced the Brewers and the Red Sox in this postseason.
Oh yeah, they're former cities.
They're just going on a trip down memory lane throughout the playoffs. It's we're gonna go to the World Series. We're gonna make some stops along the way in all of our old stopping grounds. Going to Milwaukee, going to Boston, coming to Atlanta.
If you were to tell someone that this happened in 1968, they'd be like, "Well, they probably just got booed out of town, right?"
Then no one remembers. No one cares.
Yeah, I can't believe you left Boston and Milwaukee.
Yeah, Red Sox fans are so upset that the Braves left all those years ago.
Yeah, it's not like Fenway Park's a national landmark now. Yeah. That's hilarious to think about the Boston's
That's the
revenge.
Worst storyline, but it's one we could make a complete meme out of. You know what? Major League Baseball would try to sell that too. They 100% would.
They just have an image of Kid Nichols in the background, and
they do like 30 minutes before the game, they have Joe Buck do a feature interview with Kid Nichols' great grandson. They're like, what did your great
I know you grew up in Boston, but you have an allegiance to the Braves. What are you thinking tonight? They just have him on the MLB
What's
Network
your favorite
desk.
memory from going to Boston Braves games?
Yeah, they just have him on the MLB Network desk.
Yeah.
With Jim Cott and Buck Showalter. They're just talking about the Milwaukee and Boston Braves. Yeah.
It's classic MLB.
So I mean, yeah, great storylines all around. In
Yeah,
the World
exactly.
Series.
I feel like Astros and Dodgers and Red Sox and Braves, they just get the same reaction in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if the Dodgers make the World Series, you got a really good storyline no matter what.
Yes.
And it's gonna be very weird with the home team advantage having almost no chance.
Right.
Like the Braves won, I think, 18 games less than the Dodgers.
Yeah, it's like I had to make a football reference, but last year the Washington football team was 7-9 and hosted a playoff game against Tom Brady and the Bucks, who went on to win the Super Bowl. It's kind of like that. I don't know. I'm trying to play out scenarios where the Braves succeed here.
I think
it's hard
I think it'd have to be in pitching. Like I think it's in starter longevity. That's where
I would
it is.
agree.
Yeah, I mean, like Max Fried will probably go game 1. Yeah, you gotta like that matchup against who knows.
Yes.
Also, the Braves are very familiar with Max Scherzer.
Yep.
Because they obviously saw him a million times.
That's true.
Trying to think.
The Braves bullpen has to stay where they've been at against the Brewers.
Yeah.
I mean, Brewers off from going to Brewers offense to Dodgers offense is going to be a shockwave.
Yeah. At least the pitching is like, oh, this isn't so bad.
Yeah. It's like, at least, I'll have some competitive at-bats.
Yeah. It's better than Corbin Burns and Freddie Peralta and Josh Hay. Actually, maybe Freddie Freeman's not thinking that one, but...
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you will have to face Blake Trinan, who is filthy.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be tough. I don't know. Do we how do we preview this? I guess yeah, you have Fried versus who knows who.
We don't know. We know nothing about the Dodgers, like how they're going to roll out. Like this just ended maybe 45 minutes ago.
I would assume Scherzer.
I would guess Scherzer game 1. Like they're obviously not going Arias. Buehler game 2. He'd go from Thursday to Sunday. Or no, he'd go from Tuesday to Sunday.
Tuesday, so yeah.
Okay, so Buehler game 2. Buehler game 2
versus
probably Morton,
who pitched that same day.
Well, actually, okay, yeah, Morton, and then Anderson versus Arias.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anderson versus Arias, and then game 4. That's where it gets interesting because now you're gonna have some fourth starters. So I mean, I'm thinking like Huascar Ynoa from the Braves, and I don't know who for the Dodgers.
Mhm. Yeah,
because they only started. I mean, I guess they had the bullpen game, but they had 3 different starting pitchers that were used in the series. I'm trying to think. Let me look at their bullpen and see who else they had.
I think I have what in my head I think is going to happen.
I guess Gonsolin or Price.
Gonsolin
or Price.
I'm going to say Dodgers win the first 3. The Braves throw out Max Fried at home. They win that game, and then the Dodgers take it in a gentleman's sweep in 5-game
sweep. Okay. So you got Dodgers in 5.
I feel like that's kind of like what most people would go with.
Part of me wants to remember that the Braves took them to 7 games last year, but the Braves were just so much better last year.
Exactly.
Like you lost 2 of your 3 best hitters from last year. The pitching is
I guess they did not have Morton last year.
They didn't have Morton, but I don't know, like how much of a difference do you think that really makes when you cancel out Acuna? I feel like if Acuna was playing, like this would be so much different.
Yes, it would, and
obviously Ozuna too, but that's that's an alternate universe that doesn't exist right now.
And also what we have to consider is somehow, some way, the Dodgers are better this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like, well, you're adding Charlie Morton to the Braves.
Yeah.
You're adding Max Scherzer and Trey Turner to the Dodgers.
And like they didn't lose anybody. They lost Pedro Baez, who didn't even do anything.
Pedro Baez. Yeah, they lost the human rain delay. Bad for people who take the over on pace on the time of games for the Dodgers.
They're just praying when they see Baez warming, they throw a bottle at their television.
Yeah. Like,
exactly.
Over is a lock right now. That's it. That's all the Dodgers lost.
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy that the Dodgers got better.
I'm gonna have to agree with you and say Dodgers in 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems hard to argue.
Yeah, like you could. I wouldn't be surprised either if it was a sweep in general.
Yeah.
On the Dodgers side of things, but yeah, the Braves. I wouldn't be surprised if it ended a game later or a game earlier than 5.
But if it goes 7, then
if it goes 7, I'm
hell
surprised.
of a job, Atlanta.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it would be a difficult
I
task.
mean, don't forget, like you talked about the Braves facing Charlie, like adding Charlie Morton. The Dodgers rocked him last year in the World Series.
That's correct. Yeah.
He pitched Game 3. I said that was an easy Rays win. It wasn't.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, Buehler just ended up being that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So both of us say Braves in 5.
No, we don't.
Both of us say Dodgers in 5.
Yeah. Imagine if we said Braves in 5.
I said Braves in 5 last series.
You did.
In a best of 5.
In a best of 5. And you were wrong. They
And I
actually
was
won
wrong.
it sooner.
Yeah.
I don't think we nailed any. Actually, you nailed Dodgers. No, you said Giants in 5.
I said Giants in 5.
Yeah, we absolutely suck at predictions. So expect the Braves to win in 4.
Yes.
And expect the
Astros
Braves
to win
Astros
in-
World Series.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I went 500. You unfortunately went 250.
Yeah.
But it was
wow. At least thank God for the Astros. Thank God they saved face. I almost looked like Ben Verlander. Did you see his bracket?
Yeah.
He had what? Rays.
He had Yankees.
Rays, White Sox, Cardinals, and Brewers as the final 4.
Yeah, he had Yankees and Cardinals
And
winning the
Yankees.
wild
he
card.
He had literally 0 points for the entire postseason. He lost both wild card games and he lost every DS, and by regular positive elimination lost the CS and World Series.
Right.
He had a Brewers White Sox World Series.
Yeah, it would have been hard to get all 4 right considering how close each series was, and like the Rays not winning also threw a wrench in things.
That definitely did. Like that's the one where I feel sympathy because that's the one that was probably the biggest consensus pick of the 4 division series.
Yeah, that one was the one I thought over the least.
Yeah,
probably because it just seemed right. All right, is that all we have?
Yeah, it sucks that we had such a good game and it had to end like that. It really does.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know what it would what to make a reference to, but other than the way the 2020 Giants season might have ended.
I mean, it was how 2020 was that.
I mean, just crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so we hope you enjoyed this little half episode we had for you. We definitely had a fun time.
This is nice. We should do this more often.
Yeah.
I think this should just be our designated like postseason like gut reactions spot.
Right. Our little half episode check-ins.
Yeah. Except for during the winter when it's like a big trade happens, it's like 20 degrees, we're sitting out here.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, it looks like
Kevin Gausman.
He re-signs with the Dodgers. He got a 5-year deal with $90 million.
Teeth chattering.
Yeah.
It's hard to impersonate that. You can't replicate that.
Yep.
Just like the computer freezes. And
looks like Robbie Ray rejected the qualifying offer. Do we think he can make it more than 18.4 mil?
Jose Ramirez in trade talks. Now I'm being a ghost.
Yeah. That's us. That's us impersonating being Colts as 2 people from the Northeast.
Yes.
Who know exactly what we're talking about.
That's just me spending too much time inside over the past 18 months.
Yeah.
All right. So we hope you enjoyed this one. If you want to follow us on social media, follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran, and follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. And we hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope to see you on Monday, where we're going to be talking about the past 2 games of each series, heading into the games 3, 4, and 5 of both series. So we will see you then.
This conversation is over.